Oh yeah, is that the stuff? Is that the stuff, monkey? Yeah, I'm gonna rub. Okay, here we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Houston with Problem. My microphone feels like it's just not in the right spot. Well, gentlemen, start your engines. Looks like we had a pretty good close of the day on GME. It bounced off 33 and change. Finished at 32.82. Made up to what? 33.05. And it's sitting 32 and change. 32.78 right now. Pretty good. I don't really know what the pop was on. It wasn't really expecting much gamma. We're still a little bit above what probably max pain is for the end of the week. I'm still waiting until Wednesday to buy my options for the 17th. So I'm going to pick those up on Wednesday. I don't know. If it pops like this, applied volatility goes up, maybe I'll end up with like 10 options or something. I was hoping to get a little more than that, but if the price for some reason gets some shorting done on Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe I'll be able to pick up more. But if that's the case, if I pick up 10 or so come Wednesday, and Thursday we get some sort of YOLO update from Roaring Kitty, see at 4:20 p.m. on the 9th, and things get weird, I might be able to reset on Friday, sell those options, buy a whole bunch more for the next week, and see where they go. But it all depends on if Keith Gill does something on the 9th. I don't know. There's expected to be a lot of failure to delivers that come due starting the 9th. So that's coming into that big week of the 17th where we've got just a crap load of options. I mean, it just gets bigger every day. GME max pain. Max pain for this week is at 30. So we're almost $3 above max pain. Next week, they managed to get it up to $22. So we're almost $11 over max pain. So there's a lot of gamma ramping that has to get done next week in order to make up for the fact that there's 11 million shares in the money for next week, and that's only going to grow because people are going to start buying their weeklies for next week, coming up in the next few days, and that number is going to grow. How many there are? I mean, there's still 350,000. So 350,000 contracts. So 35 million shares are still out of the money. But with the amount of gamma ramping they got to do to make up for the 11 million shares they need to get to max pain or to raise max pain to the share price, I expect the price to go even higher, putting even more shares in the money, making them have to buy more, and then we get a rubber cycle going. So, yahoo! Justin Trudeau resigned. Canada is leaderless for the next couple of months until elections. I don't know how Canada plans to run things. It appears you got two sides to the Canadian electorate. You got the side that is sort of Canada's MAGA, and you got the screw you Donald Trump side. Some MPs were making some pretty fiery speeches about, asking California, Washington, Oregon to go up to put a referendum up to have Cascadia, which is the West Coast, join Canada. Okay, I'm all right with it. I'll take free healthcare. And Canada could become the third largest nuclear power in the world as a result. So there you go. Yeah. Anything else to add, Monkey? No? Okay, she's got nothing. I might as well do the thing. Wink. The kitten. Oh, the kitten has been an absolute terror. She is a terrorist. That's what the kitten is. She is a terrorist. Not a moth. Super chats. The markets are closed the 9th. Any effect? Yes. The markets are closed the 9th in honor of Jimmy Carter's service to the United States as a foreign president and governor. So the markets are closed the 9th. I think the 9th is when T35 comes up for all those FTDs that happened during the November puny pop. So yeah, that means that Friday they're gonna have to buy like crazy on Friday. And if Keith Gill does some sort of YOLO update, then the algorithm's going to go nuts as well for the trading computers, and you might see a $10 climb for GameStop if that's the case, which puts so many options in the money. Right now, there's 19,000 contracts, so 1.9 million shares in the money. That's not much. It's nice, but it's not much. But if that goes up, you could put another 4 or 5 million shares in the money going into Monday, and then it makes next week really crazy. So yeah, apparently there's a boatload of FTDs that need to get covered, and they've been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Meanwhile, the floor price for the stock keeps going up and keeps going up, keeps going up, which means they're underwater on all those shares that they shorted, and that should make things fun, I think. Anyway, make them real fun. Okay, I turned off the intro. Yes, I did. I was scarred from the last show I did. Kelly Reed, first suckers. You were. Bill Coyne last. You're not last. Kelly Reed, happy birthday, Houston. Trudeau resigns, leaving Canada's government in limbo for 2 months. Not good with Trump threatening us with tariffs. We won't be able to do anything in the meantime. Yeah. Part of me thinks Trudeau is like, you know what? Everything's going to turn to shit globally. I'm going to let somebody else take the blame for it. That's probably why I stepped away. Or he was like, well, everything's turned to shit. I can't do any better. But another part of me thinks that Trudeau pissed off the brains of his party, and his brains were like, peace, girlfriend. And Trudeau's like, crap. The person who actually knows how everything operates has abandoned me. And he can't operate without the brains of his outfit. So there's going to be a big reshuffling for those lefties in Canada to figure out what's going on. I don't think that, at this point, I don't think they win the election. I think you get a conservative government and all the problems that come with that. Last time you guys had a conservative government was global financial crisis. You relied heavily on natural resources to get through it. But man, it was really cheap to go skiing in Canada. So, if you guys fuck up a little bit, I'll be able to take some cheap vacations. So, that works out for me. Walt the Man in the Middle. Primero suckers. Primero? Kelly sucks. Copy paste. There will be no margin calls under the current admin, and nobody is going to issue margin calls because the entities responsible for doing it are the very ones creating and selling naked shorts. There's already been margin calls under the current administration. Under the previous administration, I don't know if there's any margin calls. None that come to mind. But I mean, if someone's super underwater, you have to margin call them because you have to reclaim something and not lose tens of billions of dollars on them. The next administration there's going to be zero enforcement. That's what's going to happen. And Copy Paste, president of the U.S., has the constitutional authority to issue tariffs without congressional approval, and there's nothing Canada can do about it. Yeah, that's a pretty shitty thing. Tariffs are stupid in general. They don't work. In 1930, the Republicans in Congress and the Republican president all pushed for tariffs to try and fix what was the ills with what was happening in the Great Depression, and it only made things worse. Tariffs result in massive inflation and makes for food insecurity, reduced consumer spending, reduced discretionary income for citizens. It might be a means to an end somewhere down the line. But what's going to happen is, due to the fact that you got something like Citizens United, which allows companies to have the privilege of citizenship, all Chinese companies have to do is make wholly owned subsidiaries inside the United States, and then ship their products to those wholly owned subsidiaries at a steep discount. So let's say there's a 50-inch television made in China, and that 50-inch television sells for $500. And if you were to buy it today, you're Costco or Best Buy, and you buy that TV, and it comes to the U.S. and it's $500, and then Trump throws a 50 or 100% tariff on there, and it's now a $1,000 TV, right? Well, all that companies do, the TV companies do, is you make a wholly owned subsidiary inside the United States. You buy the TV from China for $1, and then you pay $1 tariff on it, and you bring it to the United States for $2. Then you can still sell that TV to Best Buy and whoever. But now what's happening is you are not giving favor to U.S. companies at all, because you made a giant loophole for these foreign companies to establish basically tax havens inside the U.S. Under these subsidiaries. And, or if they don't do that, then the TV's just $1,000 and people stop buying TVs. You go, well, I'm not buying that. And then people stop making TVs because some people stop buying them, and then you get no innovation happening, and that's all over with. We do not have the industrial capacity in the United States to make a lot of these products. You look at companies like Foxconn. Foxconn's Apple iPhone factory, just the factory they make the iPhones in, employs 600,000 people. 600,000 people in one factory who live on campus. They live in dormitories on campus where they work 18-hour days, 6 days a week, 1 day off a week, right? And they don't get to go outside. They're just sending money back to their villages in rural China. That's all they're doing. They have no lives. That is as big as the population of Seattle. Imagine the entire adult population of Seattle working in one factory, never going anywhere, never spending money, right? That's the type of infrastructure you need in order to build the phones that people are using. They're just like it's just a third of the phones people are using, right? We don't have that infrastructure. Now, the current administration, I think, wants to turn the United States into that, which in their minds, like, oh, cheap labor, woo, right? But then the consumer spending disappears, and then what? If you don't have consumers spending money, then you don't have people buying products, and then your companies go belly up anyway. You can't have a world of indentured servants building consumer goods if there's no one to buy the consumer goods. The luxury market is not large enough to sustain that. So yeah, tariffs just suck in general. They're either you have global trade or you don't. What would be better than tariffs is you make a law for importing goods that establishes environmental requirements, child labor requirements, minimum wage requirements, and worker safety. So you say, say I don't know, a power tool company that was building power tools in the United States and the Rust Belt and whatever, and they're like, we're gonna close everything down, we're gonna move to China where it's cheap, right? So they move to China, and they say you can't import your tools in the United States, and they're like, why? Because your plant is producing too many toxins, because you have zero mitigation. Your workers are being worked to the bone. That's not fair. They need 40-hour work week plus overtime. You're employing children. That's illegal. So if you cannot get certified by the U.S. import arm of the U.S. Customs, you don't get to bring your products in the United States. That would be a better way of doing it than just being like blanket tariffs for everybody and just raising the cost of everything. You just make it so that companies have some sort of civic responsibility wherever they are if they want to sell your products in the largest consumer market in the world. It's much better than tariffs. It actually addresses the root of why you move things overseas, which is to exploit people and the environment at the same time. When you might as well raise the standard of living for everybody. Then you create more consumers who can buy more products, making everybody richer in the long run. So, rising tide raises all boats. Copy Paste also says, after 1/2025, McCabe can take Nextbridge hydrocarbon shares to blockchain to trade, since Nextbridge didn't issue MMTLP. McCabe has no legal authority over it. You're on your own. You should have transferred. I don't know if that necessarily means anything, because MMTLP did become Nextbridge. You are entitled to Nextbridge shares and things if you still only have the certificates held at your brokerage, etc. It's just that if you aren't registered and they're going to issue only so many digital certificates for blockchain, then the people who are registered are going to get them first. Those are the folks who are going to make the money first off of selling them for a freakishly high price, because those who shorted are going to have to provide those blockchain certificates to the folks at Fidelity and Schwab, etc. And that's where the money is going to be made. So but the responsibility is still there for the shorts to provide that stuff. That's the payment in lieu have to be made. Zappy, shout out to Monkey Butt, the fat cat, and the kitten. Well, there's the fat cat. Monkey Butt just bailed. Hey, buddy. Oh yeah, chomp, 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 chomp. Kitten hopefully is asleep somewhere. My God, she's been a terrorist all morning, all day, and I just want to throw her like a football as far as I can. Emotes, Houston, have Carvana puts that are printing ideas on holding onto them, or do I sell them and get into GME? I think this week GME, or the next 2-3 weeks GME is going to go bonkers. I think that's my belief. Carvana is definitely collapsing. They got that Hindenburg short report hit on them. They're basically saying it's a giant accounting fraud scheme. They have a huge insider ownership, and they were collapsing a couple of years ago. The used car market was doing weird things, and they were collapsing. And all of a sudden, they somehow short everything up, and the price has gone through the roof. I think their value is definitely outsized of what their actual market share is. But yeah, I think you'll probably win the long run on Carvana puts. But in the near term, the potential for GME gains, I think, outpaces that, personally. If you're rich, you have the ability to play both at the same time. I don't. So I'm going to be going with GME this month. And Dan must have birthday. Brady Wells, sup, BBBY, No Labs. No Labs has had crazy volume and weird spikes. The price has gone really high. I actually look what they did today. Let's see here. KNW price. They're back down 16 cents. They were at 19 to start the day, and then they got hammered right back down again. So, nothing's going to happen with No Labs until they, meaningful is going to happen with No Labs until they file for FDA approval, which, according to the engineer that was interviewed, is probably not until next winter. So, we sit and wait. That's all you can do. Murph and Turf Studios. Happy birthday, H. Spent too much on vinyl records this weekend. What outdated technology do you still cling to? Books. What outdated technology do we do? Cars? What's not very modern that I still use? Yeah, probably books, board games. I have like a 300 CD changer. I don't really use it anymore because I live with so many roommates that if I were to blast the stereo, everyone would be really annoyed. So I just don't use it anymore. I do have a record collection as well that I don't really use. I do miss perusing albums. Going through, I used to love used CD shops. I go in, flip through all the CDs, and I'd find things oh, how about that? Because today everything's at your fingertips, right? So you can just search a band, and then they play, and then they play bands that are similar, and you just sort of find them that way. Whereas before, you really had to take a gamble, right? You had to take a gamble on an entire album. I remember my first album purchase, which was a cassette tape, and it was EMF, because their song Unbelievable, which rules. That song is amazing. And I was in 5th grade, I was that song is awesome. I'm going to spend $9.99. I'm going to buy that cassette tape because that song is so cool. I want to listen to it and anything else they have. And I got it, and every other song on the album blew goats. It was terrible. Absolutely terrible song after terrible song. They had one redeeming song. And that was my first real lesson in gambling on albums. You would find an amazing supergroup every once in a while that had 8 or 9 songs out of 10 of them on an album that absolutely kicked ass. But there were so many where one song was really good and everything else was just shit, right? And I kind of miss that roll of the dice with those albums, because now I can listen to any song and album I want and be like, nope, 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 this one, right? So, yeah, I kind of miss that. I don't know where I'm going with this, but books, CDs, whatever. Okay. Chris 9, CMP with attitude. What are you even doing here? No margin calls. Yeah, during total economic collapse and derivative market, stock, everything market, housing market, everything going to be collapsed in the last 2025. Oh, talking about companies. Yeah, I mean, the things haven't collapsed yet. And mortgage-backed securities are defaulting at a higher rate than they did during the global financial crisis. Commercial real estate is worth bupkis. We have an overinflated market that's way outpacing GDP and everything else. We have tenuous global situations around the world. War in Ukraine, war in the Middle East, weird oil prices, weird futures going on, food insecurity problems, climate change issues. We got a possible shutdown of the Atlantic cycle. We have like storms and droughts galore, wreaking havoc on arable lands. The whole globe is like really tenuous at the moment. Oh, did you go eat your food? Is that what you did? Is that why you're looking at me so satisfied? Okay, dog. All right. So yeah, the bad times are coming. That's for sure. They're coming. I mean, American farmers who voted overwhelmingly for Trump now are looking at his policies going, oh no, this is going to destroy the U.S. agriculture business. Right? He wants to deport all the ag workers. You work in agriculture, you're getting sent back to Mexico, Guatemala, Ecuador, whatever. And then how are we going to pick the food? How are we going to grow? How are we going to fertilize the fields? Who's going to run everything? You don't have family farms anymore. Family farms all got bought out, by these giant conglomerates. So you don't have families that are raised in farming anymore. You've got these giant ag businesses running tens or hundreds of thousands of acres using migrant labor to do it. And all those folks are going to be marked as scapegoats, being put into camps and deported under this next administration. So you're going to have just food rotting in the fields or just not being grown in general. And prices are going up. Plus you got a horrible disease coming. Bird flu is coming. And if you've gone to the market, you've seen just in the last week, the base price, like where I live, the base price for the cheap milk, you go to the value brand milk, right? The Western Family, whatever you want to call it. That milk was $3.63 last week. And then sometimes you get it for a deal for like $1.99 or $2.25, etc. Well, that $3.63 floor price just jumped to $4.39. So it went up 60 cents. 70 cents. Went up 70 cents. In 1 week. So the floor price is up 70 cents, which is, 20%? Basically. And now when you get a deal, it's going to be at like $2.50, $3, somewhere in there. Eggs, bird flu is wiping out flocks like crazy. Killing birds all over the place. Eggs are going through the roof. Chicken prices are going to go through the roof. So the staple meat and one of the staple dairy products, eggs, are going through the roof. And Trump's not going to do anything about that. He's like, oh, egg prices, blah, 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 election. Now you can't even get them to even talk about it because they know they can't do anything about it because bird flu has run amok. And then bird flu is going to make the jump. It's going to make the jump to mammal, human to human transmission. It's going to wipe out our family pets. It's sad to say, Monkey. I know. You are a good dog, but you're going to probably find some dead bird in the forest and eat it and then fuck everything up. Same thing with you, fat guy. It's going to start killing people like crazy. It's a 51% mortality rate at the moment. Let's say we get half that. It makes the human-to-human, what do you call it? Gain of function. And let's say it's half. That's 25%. 1 in 4 Americans who get it die. People around the globe die. Well, what's that do for an economy? Right? You're gonna have to shut down. You have to shut down in a more draconian style than you ever did during the COVID pandemic, which was about 3% fatality rate before vaccinations came along. And that collapsed the global economy and caused us to have to print like $20 trillion to do anything. So, we get to human transmission going on in the public anywhere in the world. Probably most likely to start in the U.S. because, well, quite frankly, we're just fucking idiots and we do everything wrong. We feed our dead birds to our cows, and then the cows get bird flu, and then they pass it on to dairy workers, and then it just evolves inside of them, and then there you go. But we get that hitting, while the fact we got tariffs and everything else going on, and collapsing real estate prices and collapsing home prices and a collapsing environment. Man, it is a superstorm. It is superstorm for just shit. And we elected the least capable government in existence to take that on. Basically, we went, okay, everybody, we've got a battle on 25 fronts. Let's find the most incompetent human being, the most selfish, short-sighted, elderly person we possibly can find, and we're going to have that guy who should address these things, but instead he's going to loot the treasury for himself and his family. And that's our future. So, good job, everybody. Welcome to the end of civilization. Perhaps there'll be some semblance of internet left over. And, if I'm not taken by bird flu, I can do a big old I told you so at the end of it. But, man, yeah. Alex Bishop, Super Chats. I remember I have Nextbridge hydrocarbon shares too. Does anyone know how to direct register them? Canada. Well, it's AST is the registry agent. I guess contact your brokerage and you say, hey, I'd like to direct register these. And your brokerage goes, oh, shit. And that's probably what they're going to say, because I think pretty much everything is direct registered that can be direct registered at the moment. They might not actually have paper shares for you. So you may be stuck in like that round 2 of getting your payouts after everyone who's registered does. But yeah, you have to call your brokerage. I'm not sure how the Canadian brokerages did it. U.S. brokerage, they wouldn't let me do it electronically. I had to call somebody, and I called them. I pointed them to the S3? That was the document that turned them private. And they went, okay. And I said, hey, register them. They went, all right. And it took them like a month or 5 weeks to do it. So, but that was back in summer of 2023. So a year and a half ago. So that's how I have to do it there, Alex. Javier Martinez, worst case bird flu scenario, how does one prep? Weeks or months worth of meals at home, canned food, non-perishables. Because if bird flu hits us as bad as it potentially could, that means, delivery drivers dying. That means people who work in processing plants dying. That means shutdown of everything. People in grocery stores who have to face people day and day dying, right? So you may not have the personnel available to operate some of these places. Hospitals overflowing, schools shut down, right? So you might be left with growing your own food, maybe some sort of delivery system via the National Guard, dropping off canned prepared foods. But even then, those National Guard members who are going to be called up to do this, they're going to be getting sick and dying. It's the best thing the government could be doing right now is doing a max vaccination program, kind of like Operation Warp Speed, but preventative, like now, since we know it's coming. With a vaccine that's every possible gene available in that flu virus that could mutate. You just create vaccines, start getting the general population hit with that. You just vaccinate them all. This administration with Robert Kennedy Jr. Isn't going to do that, because Robert Kennedy Jr. is not going to allow HHS to do any sort of organized plan for vaccinations, because he's a fucking moron. So it's going to be left up to the individual, because our government's going to fail us, because we've got the most incompetent people possible running the government. So when it does hit, it's going to be an every man and woman and child for themselves type situation. So cool. The prepper people who have like the bunkers and they got lots of food, they might do all right. But at the same time, those same prepper people are like, I'm not going to wear a mask. So they may die before they ever. So you just look for your prepper neighbors, wait for them to die, and then you go through their bunker and take all their food. That's probably the best bet you have. So if you happen to be not a moron living in like the panhandle of Idaho, you might do all right by just robbing your neighbors after they die from a preventable illness because they wouldn't wear a mask and they would have kept gathering in rallies and stuff. So that's probably the best thing you got going there. So Tom Zock. Hey, Dishibu. Nice Jimmy turnaround today. It was a very nice turnaround today. Passing Cloud. Last time a Trudeau resigned was 85. Maybe it's all a cycle, and the 2030s will be like the 1990s. Maybe. 1990s, I think, were the peak of human civilization. I think the year 1999 was the absolute peak of human civilization, and it's basically been downhill since then. 87-cent gas, world record snowfall in the Northwest during that year, so we had a great ski season. The economy is the best growth economy we'd had ever. We had surplus, government surplus. We were paying down debt. Like, it was all right. And then we decided that was too good, and we decided to fuck it up and vote Republican. Passing Cloud. Oh, sorry, I did that one. Leo B. retracted. Is it factory? Max Payne for IEP is still $15 for next week. Is this significant in your opinion? Ooh. I mean, it's at, what, $9 right now? IEP? IEP price. Oops, nope. I did wrong letters there. IEP. Yeah, $9.28. I mean, that's pretty significant. If you got the ability to play both, play everything, play the Carvana puts, play IEP calls, GME calls. Yeah, I mean, IEP, they're going to have to figure out how to get rid or produce more puts or something to keep them from having to pay out the current puts. So $15, that means there's a lot of puts they're going to pay out. So they're going to have to like figure out how to raise the price, those market makers. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that. Be interesting to see what happens. And on the other side, on GME side, they'd have to like crash the price, which that's not going to happen. There's too much gamma building. They have to go out, and it's getting too close. They're going to have to go out and figure out how to find those shares, which means buy them, which means the price is going to go up, which is going to put them more. So yeah, it's like they're on opposite sides here. So either the market makers and the options writers have to raise the price of IEP, or they have to figure out how to jettison all those puts. And I don't know how they're going to do that. So there could be huge payouts for people who have those IEP puts. Ziomaga did with nub. Why does ComputerShare need overpaid consultants? Acquired CMI, 2i, and IR Limited seems stupid unless they're going to modernize. Barely any news on either companies. I know nothing about ComputerShare and their consultants. Absolutely zero. It's the first time I'm hearing of it, so they do need to modernize. They have a very, very antiquated system. I think registered agents should have the same access to markets as brokers do. rather than doing like the weekly buys that they do, stuff like that. It should be in real time. Anyone like a registered agent should be able to or sorry, not registered agent, transfer agent. That's what I'm looking for. A transfer agent should be able to have access to markets, to exchanges, to just make purchases whenever. Like there should be liquidity there, and the only reason there isn't is because they're basically forced not to. That seems silly to me. But yeah, so maybe they're doing some sort of modernization effort. Maybe you're right in that front. Derek Horse, any BBBY crumbs? Why you keep staring at me like that, man? I know I got all these cats and the dog head, and you are just a scratchy little dude. Not too much happening in the filing front. Looks like they're going to take a lot of the personal injury and the gift card stuff and just sort of like pretty much be done with all that. We've had not really any meaningful filings still since the beginning of December. The Alamo side of the bankruptcy, because there's 70 something subsidiaries. The Alamo one was supposed to be finished according to the expected completion date on December 31st. We've not seen any filings out of that. Well, all the rest of them I think are 2026. Yeah. So this dog, well, you can see her little eyeballs. Whoops, right there. She's just staring at me. Just staring and staring and staring. You sweet little dog. It's because you want something from me. I gave all the snacks to the roommates, so I only have her these. You okay with these? You okay with the pig ear? Yeah? You want it? Come get it. There you go. Okay. And I'll make her stop staring at me as much. Okay. Alright. Eyes burning a hole in the side of my head. BJK 031. I think we're still on for a Raquel sequel. The sequel at the end of the month. My calls are starting to look pretty ugly for 24th, 31st, 7th. Raquel sequel. And the call should be looking pretty good because we went up a couple of dollars today. I think it's gonna get juicy. That's my gut. That's my gut's telling me is that it's gonna get juicy. So I'm gonna play it that way. I'm gonna be a degenerate gambler and play it that way. Chris 9. Lots of non-believers. We are here for MOAS, not lame-ass Tesla, slow squeeze. The potential is here. 1901 Northern Pacific squeeze, $1,000, $34,000 today. Never forget BTC at 100,000. Not if, but when. Yep. Bring it. MS is 70th. Charles Bronson, Houston. We still think about if you had got rich from those GME options the past would have been epic. Yeah, I think about that every day. Think about that. One of my favorite things is to peruse the internet for cool shit boxes to drive around. I think, oh man, if I had that money, I would totally buy that 1989 Buick Riata, do something with it. So, yeah, I think about it all the time. I mean, if I had made the money on June 7th, like I thought I was going to before the dilution, I probably would have doubled it by now off of the November push. And who knows what I could have done with January. But man. In all likelihood, though, I probably would have been like, and turn my brain off. Live my life, travel, hang out in pubs and meet people and go to beaches and just live that luxury life and not think about stocks ever again. That's very likely if I get enough money, that's where I will be. Kelly Reed. Copy and paste, you are correct. We can't do anything about it. Just not a good thing to have a government in limbo without an elected leader. Yep. Rosemoon, hey guys. I had to delete my Reddit account because I was getting threats of violence. I've noticed men are much more violent with the election result, and I fear for the next 4 years. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they are. and men are horrible to women on the internet. They're horrible to women in public. 90+% of violent crimes committed by men against women, and that's just how society is, and it fucking sucks. I am so glad I'm not a lady. Let me just put it that way. Working in the restaurant industry as long as I have, in a community that isn't that bad, like affluent, low rates of crime, men are still disgusting. And it's a different type of disgusting, I think, than you get if there wasn't the affluence involved. It's an entitled wealth where they're so rich they think that they don't have to have a decent personality. They don't have to have character. They can just be rich and get what they want. And when someone isn't into that, then the anger builds. Whereas I think other violence towards women is due to a lack of access to that wealth, where, oh, I don't have the flashy money or the good personality, so I got to take what I want. And so I think there's like two sides to that same thing. But even then, like, we've had decades of education in the schools about proper behavior, how you behave in public, how you treat people, right? That we may not have had specific examples for 40, 50 years ago. And, you learn about sexual assaults in school. You see on the news, like, male teachers finally going down for decades of abuse before they're getting shuffled around, just like priests. And, in the 1990s, you started hearing about sexual harassment. Anita Hill brought that to the forefront during the Clarence Thomas hearings. And, you started to, like, sort of, the population got a little wiser to how we treated women in public. There's a lot less catcalling than there was. A lot less groping in public as there was. Used to be a lot more butt pinching and things like that going on. It still happens, but it's not at a level it was in the 50s, 60s, 70s, etc., or in Italy in general. But even then, you have people that have no moral bearings, no conscience. They learn those lessons throughout school, like, don't behave like this. And they're like, oh, fuck that, I want to do whatever I want. And let their little lizard brain take over. And the government we've elected, I think, has basically been sort of a ratification on that behavior is okay. Women aren't people. And so you're going to get a lot more of that as time goes on. It's going to be up to individuals who see that behavior to be able to correct it when they see it. And I'm just afraid that folks may feel like they're outnumbered at some point, and they're going to stop correcting it, and they're just be like, because they'll be scared of the violence that ensues when they do try to correct that behavior. Because it's true. You see some guy pestering a woman on the street, and if you intervene and be like, hey, guy, that's not appropriate, you might get stabbed, shot, whatever. So people are very terrified of those reactions. There's smoother ways you can do it. I've had to do it once. I remember I was walking back. I was going to school at Seattle Central, and I was coming back to the ferry. And I was just having a leisurely, nice, sunny day walk. I was like, I don't need to catch the early boat. And I was just walking down to the ferry. And I believe I was on 3rd Avenue in, like, Seneca, somewhere around there. Right near the Washington Mutual Tower, which I don't know what they call it now because Washington Mutual doesn't exist anymore. And there's this guy who was very, like, in front of me, who was very much pestering this woman. And she was being like, leave me alone. What, like, don't talk to me. I'm just trying to, and she's like looking for a way out. And I just walked up. I was like, oh, honey, there you are. Oh my goodness. Like, I've been looking for you everywhere. Why aren't you answering your phone? And she's, my battery was dead. And I was like, we gotta go in here. And then I just, like, we walked into, it was like an ATM booth inside of outside the building. And the dude just left. He was like, oh shit, her man is here. And she's like, thank you so much. I'm like, no problem. Hang out here a minute and we can go, and you can go on your way. Wait till that guy's gone. But like, you could do little things like that. It's just, you don't have to be like, fuck you, buddy, don't treat her that way, and just escalate the situation and somebody gets hurt. Yeah, but anyway, dudes suck. I know a lot of men hate hearing that. Like, men in general suck. That's just, there's too many men who are terrible, and not enough people to, I think, redeem our half of the species in the end. It's just, even people that we see as, speaking of men sucking, Triple Batman's absolutely dominating right now. As much achievement as society has had, even some of our greatest artists and creators and thinkers still have some broken side of them when it comes to their behavior towards women. And I don't know, I don't know how to rectify that. I mean, you got brilliant thinkers like Isaac Asimov, who apparently was really, really shitty with women. Absolute monster. And he writes brilliant works that are philosophical and profound, and then you find out that his actual behavior with women is something completely different. You have people that portray themselves as the ultimate family man, like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby was my hero growing up. He was my surrogate dad. My dad lived in Japan. I didn't get to see him very much, so I'd watch the Cosby Show, imagining myself having Bill Cosby as my dad. And then you find out that he's not the wholesome family man that you thought he was. That was just a projection to protect from the serial rapist that he was. So I don't know. The fact women go out with us ever and are attracted to men in any capacity blows my mind. Absolutely. Like, just think about, like, every time, if you go on an internet dating site and you're a woman and you right swipe on a dude, like, the likelihood of you going on a date with him and dying, being raped, injured is not non-zero. It's fairly significant. There's a lot of men who can manage to control themselves and who they are for enough time until they lock somebody into a relationship and then they turn to something completely different. I had a cousin that married a man who was a sweet, charming, successful Hollywood actor, or working actor. I mean, you'd see him in movies with speaking roles and things. And the minute they got married, she's a successful opera singer. And the minute they got married, he was like, "You're going to stay home and you're going to do my bidding. No more opera." She's like, "Whoa, hey, that was not our deal." It's like, "My women do not work. They stay home and they do my bidding." And like, that obviously was not what she got into with that relationship. He had no indication that was how it was going to go the minute they got married. But the minute, she signed that wedding contract, he became a completely different human being. So yeah, ladies, I try to imagine how terrifying it is to even try to date. You can meet people that are totally normal, and the minute they have alcohol in their system, they become a different monster entirely. So yeah, Rosemoon, I totally get that you feel like you had to delete your Reddit account. I would be terrified as a woman on the internet in general, let alone in public. I'm just lucky enough that I'm big enough that people don't bother me. So yeah, like, I can stroll around town and be just fine. And like, my real first, I don't know, realization of the difference between men and women, like, when you grow up, boys and girls are roughly the same size. And there's that point in like 5th grade where the girls are all something taller and bigger than all the guys, and then they catch up and pass them all in high school. And I remember I was about, 8 years old, and my sister, my next older sister, was 13, and she wanted to go into Seattle with her friends and go like dress shopping or something. My mom was like, "Absolutely not. You, 13-year-old girl, are not going into the city alone. You're going to wait until I can go with you, or, one of your friend's parents." And my sister's like, "This isn't fair, blah, blah, blah." And then when I was 13, my mom did not care. She's like, "You go into the city by yourself, who gives a shit?" Great, that was 6'4", 13. But still, like, and I was thinking, like, that's not fair. Like, that seems really like unfair. Like, that's not equal rights. Why'd my sister not be allowed to do this, but I am? And then I got into the city and I'm walking with like four of my friends and we're loud and we're chit chatting and whatever. And I'd watch people come towards us and then cross the street to the other side and keep walking. And I was like, huh. Oh, people are more scared of me than I am of them. And 13-year-old girls in Seattle alone, people are not scared of them. Matter of fact, they're just a walking pack of victims as they go through an urban center. Like it clicked in my head. I was like, oh my gosh, like we're terrifying hoodlums. That's what people see when they see a group of boys walking along, especially in the 1990s after all the gangster movies and whatever. Yeah, there was sort of like an awakening in my psychology of how the public sees people and treats people, based upon sex and size. So yeah, I don't know where I'm going with all this, but dudes, quit sucking, be good to people, and be stronger than your lizard brain. Yeah. And ladies, I'm so sorry that every time you go out for a run, you're terrified. I'm so sorry that meeting men in public can be terrifying. I wish we could do more about that, but I don't know how to fix a quarter of the population who sucks. So, Passing Cloud, good luck buying Friday. It's a 4-day trading week. I'm not buying Friday. I'm buying Wednesday. So, yep. Lone Wolf, apparently I won a prize. Yay! Did someone stupid mark it up to old age and left my info on Twitter comment? I don't know if I got it. I'm sure everyone else did. If not, who do I contact? Lone Wolf, I forgot who was on my list. The list was Eric Johns, Wrong Conclusion, Chris and Christine Reilly, Dizzy, Fer Garcia, Vera Nokum, Malin Hurt, Redbeard Rob, Prontal, Chris Taylor, and Cran Green. And I forgot that Wrong Conclusion said they did not need a prize, and they were going to give it up to another person. So Wrong Conclusion is off the list. They were number 1975. So we can, while I'm thinking of it, we can do... Oh, crap. Oh, I had to restart the computer, so the old Raffle is not up there. Random name picker. So, let's see here. I gotta get the sheets up here. This one. Okay, we gotta copy that. Gotta drop it in a random name picker. Paste. Oh. Oh, meow. Bing. Okay. All right. So, boom. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So if one of these other 10 names pop up, we're just gonna ignore them because I didn't have the opportunity to delete their names because it's all gone from there. So let's just see who's gonna get Wrong Conclusions 1975 prize. Hey, Julio! Julio gets it. All right. So that's gonna be Julius Miami. Julio, you may need to send me your address again because it is buried somewhere far back to messages from a year ago. The last time I think you got a prize. So there you go. All right, Julio gets prize number 1975. So all I'm waiting for right now is a scale. So I got Mystery Michael sent me a label printer for doing packages, which is fantastic. So I just need to get a scale. I need to go buy a scale now to weigh things so I can ship everything. Because I got just a pile behind me that needs to go out, and a pile right here. You can't see out of frame of the camera. Needs to go out as well. So oh my god, I have like $1,000 in packages I need to send. So come on, GME, let's Let's make up for Houston's package prices there. Okay, so Julio wins that prize. And what? This one? What was that? Why is this one on?
Let's get started.
Ah, crap! It's Charity Tuesday one I didn't turn off. Fudge's sake. It's not Charity Tuesday.
Houston.
But we just did a prize for Charity Tuesday, so I guess that kind of fits. Turn that off. Happy New Year, says MS. Stay healthy. Well, I'm going to try. So, Happy New Year. Hey, Happy New Year, everybody. I haven't seen you guys since I ate... what did I eat this year? I already forgot. I ate... biscuits. The Cheddar Bay biscuits from Red Lobster. Which were... they're okay. I mean, they're alright. I wonder if I should have baked the Cheddar Bay biscuits with the garlic butter glaze on them rather than using it as a dip. That would have been better. I don't know. But like they were okay. They tasted like just regular biscuits. They didn't taste fancy at all. I have no idea if there's any more Red Lobsters anywhere near me that I could go like try an actual Red Lobster because I've never been to one. But they were okay. They're number 2 on the list as far as like the 4 years of eating things I've never eaten before, with still Hot Pockets at a distant fourth. Pizza bagels, number 1. I wouldn't mind eating pizza bagels as just a regular snack. Those were pretty bomb. Okay. But Lone Wolf, yes, you did not win this time around. Did you win the other times? Ah, crap. Where are my prizes? That's that round. I'm losing track of everything now. That's the prize from Mark Wood I still need to mail. Yeah. Well, we raised $1,300 and something for St. Jude. I gotta go to YouTube. How much did we raise? We were over 1,300, I think. So go there. Go to your channel. Click on the lives. Click on Charity Tuesday. Click on... We raised $1,400 even. Exactly $1,400 for St. Jude's. Fantastic. Which now gets $1,500 level. So that means the only prize that's going to be raffled off for St. Jude's is the Houston Wade Funko Pop. So, see, it's a spitting image. Absolute spitting image. You cannot tell the difference between me and this Funko Pop at all. So, there we go. That's up there. Speaking of which, the kitty cat has knocked, I think, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or maybe Ruth Bader Ginsburg has been knocked off the, yep, she's on the floor. You monster. You absolute terrorist. You're going to be put on a watch list. That's what's going to happen. Okay. Owen Saunders, please call out Musk for supporting that xenophobic, racist bastard, Tommy Robinson. Absolute disgrace. Oh yeah, if you had any question about Musk's political leanings being on the fascist side, all you have to do is point to his support of Tommy Robinson. So Tommy Robinson he is a white supremacist xenophobe who, while on vacation outside of the country, had basically started massive riots that put people's lives at risk and all sorts of violence happening in the UK this summer. And he was arrested for terroristic threats, basically. And that's where we are. So, yeah. Musk appears to be trying to start a race war in the UK, to me. He's like, free Tommy Robinson, and like the Suffolk Police Department just responded with, no. Like, yeah, screw you, Elon. Nunmoth, how far out of the money are you going? I'm probably going right at the money. So depending on where I think the close price is going to be on Wednesday afternoon, I'm probably going to buy right around at the money. Just in case things go nuts on Friday as a result of T35s coming due, as a result of a possible Roaring Kitty post. If it goes up a bit on that Friday, and I can make $500 or $1,000 off each one, I will reset I will sell those suckers, and I will buy at the money, at the new price going into that next Friday, however many shares I can get, or how many contracts I can get. Might be able to go from 10 to 50 if that's the case. It'd be pretty sweet. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking at, somewhere around there. We'll see where the price action is and what happens tomorrow and Wednesday. I was kind of hoping that it would get hammered down a little bit closer to max pain so that the applied volatility would drop, and I might be able to pick up 11 or 12 of them. But if the price keeps doing what it's doing, then it might be fewer that I can get my hands on. Anyone important messaging me at the moment? Sorry. Okay. Charles Bronson, commercial real estate is suffering. I saw videos of malls being converted into apartments. Thoughts? Well, commercial real estate is getting obliterated. Anchor tenants at malls are vanishing because they're getting hit really, really hard by short hedge funds. You're losing Kohl's and Big Lots and Lamont's and Sears and J.C. Penney's and Macy's all over the country. These anchor tenants in these malls are just vanishing, right? Which means the smaller shops inside the malls do not have the same pull as they did. When I was a kid, you go school shopping, right? Every August, our mother would take us to the mall to go buy clothes because we grew over the year and their shoes had holes in them and stuff. And we'd go and we'd hit up J.C. Penney. And then we'd find stuff at, maybe this. Then we'd head over to Sears. And we go there. And then in the meantime, between the Sears and the J.C. Penney, there's a shoe shop. So go in the shoe shop and get a pair of tennis shoes. And then it's like, oh, okay, there's this shop over here. Then by the time you're hungry, so you go to the food court and you get a snack and a lunch. Then you head over to Mervin's or whatever happened to be there. And you zigzag your way across the mall, and then you'd have all these bags and stuff, and you take them all back to the car, and you head home. Today, you don't have that anymore. Now people, if they do the school shopping, they might go to, Target, maybe, do the one-stop shop, Walmart, right? They aren't going to Sears. Sears doesn't exist anymore. They don't really go to JCPenney or Macy's like they used to, right? And those are disappearing. Nordstrom's is for rich people. So the malls have to really figure out what they're going to do. And like our mall, what was the Sears has become a Winco Foods. So they figured out something there. Macy's still exists. So it's Winco Foods, Macy's, and then I think what was JCPenney's turned into a Borders Books. So you have those three anchors. And then at the other end, there was a Lamont's, a Mervin's, and a Big Lots. I think Lamont's is empty, Mervin's is empty, and the Big Lots is going to be empty soon because they're closing all the Big Lots stores. So that half of the mall is going to be dead. If you go inside the Kitsap Mall today, it is a ghost town. No one's at the kiosks. There's half the shops are just empty. There's weird things get put in the shops. There'll be like a masseuse, or like a law office, or like just weird things inside the malls because rent's really cheap, and you might be able to get that space for a screaming deal. In malls like that, it's happening to malls all across the country because these anchor tenants for a long time are getting vaporized by naked shorts and being forced into bankruptcy because they get their BCG contracts or Majinski or whatever, like they just McKinsey, sorry, Kinsey, and they get forced to do the worst possible things. They sell out the real estate. They might own the chunk of land that their anchor store is in, and they'll sell it to some real estate company and then rent it back, and they'll destroy their company that way. And so that when it comes time for bankruptcy, they don't even have the assets available to sell off to pay off their creditors. So yeah, it's just rough all around. Alexander K. Lions football. All right, I need somebody to root for. I can root for the Lions. Why not? Because Seahawks didn't make it. 74 company stock is $10. 11 C's are $1. If I buy the call, the stock hits 11. How much is that call now? 2? No. Generally it goes up again at the money. Let's look at something that's around $11. That would be IEP, or $10. IEP is just under 10. So let's IEP options chain. Okay. This is the options chain for IEP this week. The price is sitting at $9.28. So the calls at $9 are 45 cents. Right? If you go to $10, they're at $5, 5 cents. And at $10.50, 1 cent. For some reason, 11's at 5. That doesn't make any sense. So if this stock price goes up $1, right? It goes from $9.28 to $10.28 and puts these $10 in the money. These $10 will be worth about $45 for the contract. So you have an easy way of 9xing your play there if it goes up the dollar. So yeah, it doesn't go from like the 1 cent to 2 cent. It goes up for the most part. If it goes up to $11, right? Then you're looking at something that's about adding $1, almost 90 cents a dollar. Because for every dollar a contract goes above the strike price, adds around $1 to your price. Because it adds, that 1 cent a share per share all the way through. So, you're up about $100. And that's how it rolls. Yeah. That's why options plays can compound a lot, especially during volatility. So if we look at GameStop, let's go GME options chain. Bing. Okay. Applied volatility still under 100% for right near the money, which is okay. At the money right now, $1.42. That's pretty reasonable. I would have thought implied volatility had gone up a bit more. You can get just out of the money, so $33.50, which is not too far out of the money. That's less than $1 out of the money for about $1. I might be looking around that price if it's like that. What's this for this week? So I want to look for next week actually. 17th. Here we go. Yeah, so $2. So at the money is $2.40. To get to $1, you got to go way out of the money because implied volatility is over 100% here, meaning they think things can happen. You got to get up to the $38 range, so you're at $6-7 out of the money before you're at $1 per contract for next week. But let's say you buy these 240s, right? You buy at 240, and the stock price goes up to $38. These 240s will likely add about $500-600 to the contract. Picture $100 per dollar it goes up. Because if you go backwards $5-6-7, right? Go from $32.50 down to $26.50, right? These are $6.96. That's $450 more. Go 25, which is about $7 out. You're at $800 per contract. So, and if the price flies really high, if it goes zoom like we did in May and June, where we're seeing days where it goes up $15 or $30, like between close and open, the implied volatility will shoot up to hundreds and hundreds of percent, which will add a huge premium to these. So if you go up the $6-7 and you expect to see $500-600 extra on your contract, you may see another $500 of premium. So you may be up $1,000 per contract. So if you bought this thing for $240, it might be selling for $1,200 if you go up $5-6 instantly. It might be selling for $2,000 if you go up $10 or $15. So if the price goes from $32.50 to $50, right, and you're up $18, you'd be looking at $2,300-2,400 per contract. So you're 10xing this money right here easily, just by going up $18. So that's why these contracts can be totally degenerate gambling plays, but during periods of volatility you can make a fortune on them. So this sucker goes from $240 to $24.40. You make 10x. You made $2,000 off of it. It's still flying high. You can reset in these ones at $50, right? That are currently 57 cents. Those might be $300 or $400. So you buy 10 of these, spent $2,000. It turned into $20,000, and now you got $20,000. You can buy, I don't know, 75 of these ones, and then the next day it might be worth $85. You add another $3,000 to each one of those, right? So it can really compound as time goes on. Of course, you can also buy those 200-300 contracts, I don't know, and the price suddenly collapses and it's worth nothing. So that's where the gambling comes in. But I have a feeling that if we do well on Friday, we're going to do really well next Friday. And if we do really well next Friday, then things go absolutely out of control bonkers by the 24th. And that's the bet I'm going to make on my options play, is that I'm going to have lots of opportunities to compound how many shares I have. And my goal is at some point have 1,000 or more shares on a day where the stock price does $10 or more, and then I'm happy. That's the ultimate goal. And it's very, very possible because May and June we had days where the stock did $30 between after hours and pre-market. And if you can line up, you can get hundreds or thousands of calls because you've been compounding, as it goes up and down. Then you can be set up to have a day where you got it. I mean, back in 2021, we had days where we did $100 in a day. So if you had a contract, you're making $10,000 off that contract minimum, because the stock price went from 40 to 140 in a single trading shift. So yeah, if you manage to bounce around and get yourself to the point where you've got 1,000 contracts and it does $100 in a day, you can have $10 million off of that. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for with me hopes is at least a January 2021 redux. So, Fat Cat, you with me? And if it doesn't, then, I still got my shares, and that's what happens. I go, wah, 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 and I dress in black and complain for an hour about whatever happened. So, yeah. I'm quite far behind the chat, and I've made just barely the start of the show in chat-wise, and I've got to go here in a couple minutes. So, I apologize if I didn't get to you. 1,000 apologies. I'll probably be doing lots of shows in the next week. I may even do one tomorrow. Probably not one on Thursday since the market will be closed, but probably tomorrow and Wednesday, and then one definitely on Friday. So you'll see lots of me this week. And yeah, Lions football one. Alex Bishop saying, hi everyone. On the Moth, I saw a video that says people in China are getting hit hard with whatever's flying around. Yeah, China has a pneumonia going around, which may be COVID related. I have no idea. That is like filling up their hospitals, and it's pretty brutal. Also, there's apparently an H1N1 flu, which the swine flu that's hitting really hard right now, or flu A. Yeah, so dense population centers where viruses hit really hard have a really high chance of doing lots of mutations. So that's why a lot of flus, when they named after geographical areas, a lot of them are named like Hong Kong flu, Shanghai flu, things like that, because there were dense populations where viruses spread really quickly, mutated really quickly, and then spread out from the world because as being international hubs, people hopped on planes and it went from there. So like Spanish flu, they call it Spanish flu because that was the first place when, oh my gosh, this disease is happening. But when they trace it back, it actually started at a cattle farm in Kansas. So it actually should have been called Kansas flu. But we call it Spanish flu because that was the first place we really realized that this particular new strain was happening. And we didn't even know what DNA was back then. So we don't know how, just like, oh my God, look what Spain did. And then forensic evidence later revealed it came from American GIs. Coming from Kansas to World War I, bringing it with them. Great Knowles, Houston. Can you convince me as to why all of Wall Street and the big banks will pay us when MOAS ignites? Why won't they screw us over? Convince me, pretty please. Because if they don't pay us, then they aren't paying the other people they owe money to. It's not just us who are invested in things like GME. We see lots of big institutions invested as well. So you can't be one big institution and be like, I'm not going to pay that other institution. Fuck you guys. Because they're going to create warfare on Wall Street between big money people. So if you're going to pay someone, you're going to have to pay us as well. Simple as that. The money's got to go somewhere. And the liability has to be taken somewhere. Now, if they're able to like somehow hammer the stock price down to 20 cents, 10 cents, 5 cents, 0 cents, then, you know, they win, right? They don't have to pay us anything. But if the price goes nuts, the liabilities are on the line, and, you know, the books have to be evened out at some point. They paid everyone during the Volkswagen squeeze, right? They got paid. The folks who had the credit default swaps on mortgage-backed securities got paid, right? So these huge institutions, they have insurance, they have the backing of the U.S. Treasury, right? When they get in trouble, they get bailed out. So yeah, the money's got to go somewhere, and so that's why. All right, I got going, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Sorry, it's a short show. It's, you know, life happens. I'll probably see you guys tomorrow, I think. I don't think I have anything particular I got to get done tomorrow. Yeah, so I'll probably see you guys tomorrow, and we'll chat some more. All right, cool. Yeah, okay. Catch you on the flip side. Everyone have a great day. And since I've done so many intros today, I might as well do the other intro. Bing. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Everyone, peace out.